We're good. Okay, it's Wednesday, September 3rd at 6 p.m. and I'm going to call this public information meeting to order. So thank you for everyone who was in attendance. West Hants Regional Municipality acknowledges that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people, and that this land is governed by the treaties of peace and friendship signed in 1726. West Hants Regional Municipality recognizes that we are all treaty people and have responsibilities to this land and each other. West Hants Regional Municipality recognizes African Nova Scotians are a distinct people whose histories, legacies, and contributions have enriched that part of Mi'kma'ki known as Nova Scotia for over 400 years. We acknowledge the historic and ongoing racism against these communities and are committed to mending our relationship by listening, learning, and recognizing our wrongs. Council and I, as chair, are committed to ensuring this meeting and its participants conduct themselves in a respectful and professional manner as outlined in the municipality's Municipal Code of Conduct. Meeting presenters, staff, and the public are expected to always conduct themselves in an equally respectful manner while the meeting is being held. I thank you all in advance for your commitment to these important meeting principles. So the West Hants Public Participation Program was established under Section 204 of the Municipal Government Act, requires a public information meeting for development agreements and proposed amendments to the planning documents. This meeting is hosted by planning and development staff and provides members of the public with an opportunity to bring up any concerns and ask the applicant and planning staff any questions regarding the proposal. This is the first step in the process, and no decisions have been made as of yet. As a reminder, this meeting is streamed live on YouTube, and audience members are not permitted to record the meeting on their personal devices. If we should happen to need to leave the building to a fire or other emergency, exits are found to the right towards the back of the room and at the back of the left-hand side. The muster station is in the staff parking lot, and I would ask Councillor Paul Wheaton to be the last person out and check all the washrooms are empty. So just some details to get going before we get started. So just so everyone knows how this will go, we have 2 PIMs this evening. So we'll have an overview of each process and procedure with each of the planning staff. Then the owner, the developer, can do a presentation if they so wish. Questions or comments from the public and PAC, HAC, or council members in attendance. And then I'll do the closing remarks. So at this time, I'm going to ask Will Hong for Upper Burlington, file number 25-20, PID 45285-103 Old Walton Road, Upper Burlington, and this is a rezoning. So Will, you can take it over, please.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. My name is Will Hong, and I'm the planner with the municipality who is handling this particular planning application. So I will begin with a presentation to go over our planning process and how public can share their feedback with us. Then we will open the floor to the members of the public for comment and questions period and have a conversation with anyone who wishes to speak tonight. I have my contact information here on the slide, and I also got my business card on the table over there. So I will once again highlight my contact information at the end of my presentation. So tonight's meeting is about a rezoning application on PID 4528-5103 on Old Walton Road in the Upper Burlington. So to start, I'd like to give a bit of background on this application. So the subject property is owned by the municipality since 1998 and then leased to the Upper Burlington Community Hall Association in the year of 2000. So back on July 8th this year, So back on May 13 this year, the Hands Shore Child Care Association made a presentation to the council and asked to grant the land for the purpose of child care facility. And on July 8th, 2025, council approved a motion to deem this property as surplus land and direct the chief administrative officer to apply an application to our planning department for rezoning of this property. So a completed application was received on July 18th from Mark Phillips, CAO, to rezone the property to provide an opportunity to the Hands Shore Child Care Association to explore establishing a licensed child care center. So this slide shows the orthophoto of the subject property. As you can see from the picture, the property has road frontage on both Highway 215 and Old Walton Road. And the property is in 3 acres in size, and the surrounding areas comprises single unit residence, the Upper Burlington Community Hall, and farms. And this slide shows the generalized future land use map of the West Hands municipal planning strategy, which shows the subject lot and most of the surrounding properties are designated agriculture. And this map shows the current zoning map of the West Hands land use bylaw, which indicates the current zoning for this property is open space, which permit a variety of uses, include cemeteries, museums, outdoor recreational uses, and so forth. So on the proposed zoning, I do want to pause here for a moment to explain the rationale behind staff's recommendation. So I would like to acknowledge that we have heard some concerns about how this proposal could affect the existing land use pattern for the surrounding neighborhood. And so with that in mind, staff are not recommending the property be rezoned to a commercial zone. So instead, we are proposing the institutional zone. So by going this route, we believe that the zoning will better reflect the intended use of the property, which is to address communities' needs for a childcare facility. And at the same time, it will provide a clear framework for what can and cannot happen on the site, which helps prevent any unintended commercial uses beyond what's being proposed. So this include so the current institutional zone allows a variety of institutional uses, include churches, educational facilities, community center, government office, and so forth. So because the daycare center is currently not a permitted use in the institutional zone, so part of this application is to allow this daycare center as a permitted uses and added to the institutional zone. And I will just show some pictures of the subject lot. The first one was taken this afternoon, which shows the subject lot as viewed from Highway 215. And here's another picture of the subject lot. The subject property also features the 1760 planter trail along with an interpretive sign that tells the heritage history behind the Upper Burlington area. And here's another view from the Old Walton Road. So moves into the policy part, and this is really what enables this application to occur. So the West Hands Municipal Planning Strategy is the overarching document that we look at, and specifically policies 13.2.2 states that it shall be the policy of council to zone only public lands for open space purposes. And this provides justification to rezone to a more favorable zone for the proposed use for the childcare facility. So because council deemed it as a surplus land already and is in the process of land transfer agreement, so we can use this policy for the zoning change. And another policy we look at is policy 16.3.1, which is basically the general criteria in considering any land use bylaw amendment. So the aspects that we will look at on this rezoning application will be adequacy of water and sewer services, fire protection and other emergency services, and road networks, and the suitability of transportation access. Also, we will be looking at lot shape and surrounding development patterns, and some of the environmental factors will also be looked at during the staff review phase. And we will also look at the compliance with other municipal or provincial and federal regulation in regards to this application. So the planning process here shows the overall timeline. As you can see the chart, we are at the very first step tonight to hold a public information meeting and to hear public input on the proposal. So this is again really the beginning of the planning process, and which means no decision will be made tonight. So moving on, we will do a comprehensive staff review, and we will also staff will also bring this application to the Planning Advisory and Heritage Committee, which will likely happen next month. And then we'll move on to council for first reading, and followed by a public hearing and second reading, where the public can also have another chance to speak in front of council. And then we will, if the application were approved by council, we will place a notice of approval in the paper that will follow by 14-day appeal period to the Nova Scotia Regulatory and Appeals Board. So the comment period will remain open until noon on September 17, which is 2 weeks from today. So if you would like to share your voice with us, here are some ways you can contact me. And I have my contact information on the slide. You can reach me through telephone. We're at 902-798-8391, extension 110, or you can send me an email at whong@westhants.ca, or if you prefer mail, there's also a drop box at our municipal office at 76 Morrison Drive in Windsor. So with that, thank you everyone for your attention, and I will now pass it over to you, Chair. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Will. It was a great presentation. So I don't believe we have another presentation from the municipality. So I will move right into any questions or comments from the public, or even once we go through the public, if counselors in attendance, we have 2, would like to speak, you're more than welcome. So are there any questions? I see we have one person on YouTube online. Claire, did you have any questions for this one?
Hi, yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello. I have some comments. I'm Claire Jimmerson, and I'm a resident, and my property shares a boundary with this land, and I would like to respectfully oppose the rezoning of the Upper Burlington 3-acre parcel. This open space, I don't see it as surplus. It is heritage land, and it is serving our community. It does have historical significance, and as was mentioned, it has the Planter Pioneer Health and Heritage Trail. And it's a route that directly links us to the early settlement history of Nova Scotia, the living story of the Mi'kmaq, Acadian, and planter past. So, I think it's really important to recognize that. Rezoning, it really does erode that legacy and diminish the integrity of the trail. Secondly, I have serious traffic concerns in this area. 50 child daycare, which could expand as well, would add roughly 120 vehicle trips per day to this rural area. And, this is all year round. And the old Walton Road and nearby rural roads were never designed for this. They're narrow, there's no sidewalks or shoulders, and they already carry local pedestrian, cycle traffic. And so I feel this development would create turning conflicts, congestion and safety risks, particularly at drop-off and pick-up times, and would likely require costly road upgrades at the taxpayer's expense. I know childcare is essential. I just feel this is the wrong site. There are other locations already zoned and serviced for institutional or commercial use and can meet this urgent need without compromising our history, our safety, or the planning principles of West Hants. So I really do urge you to protect this land, preserve the heritage, and reject the rezoning of this land. I'd also like to suggest that any decisions are deferred until there is a heritage impact assessment, a traffic study to see the impact this would have, and really a meaningful public consultation, something with the residents of Upper Burlington and the trail users, consistent with the principles of transparency and community engagement. And I appreciate this meeting tonight is for that purpose, but I really think we need more time to look at this project and really the significance of it. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Claire. Is there anyone else in the audience that has a gentleman in the back? If you can come up and turn the microphone on by pressing the button and just state your name, please. Thanks, Alex. Oh, we just need you to tap. There you go. You're all good.
Right. Yeah. So many of us here, right?
Yes.
Ron McNeil. And I think it's a great idea. We need daycare all over so people can work. I only have one question is there something set aside to protect the trail?
Planner Tom, can you?
Yes. So I think when I was reviewing the first meeting back in May, I believe that a representative from the Hants Shore Childcare Association had indicated that they will remain the trail as it is. So, and I'm not sure if the representative tonight can clarify your proposal a little bit more. And you are welcome to do so.
My experience dealing with governments has been that if it's not written in or legislated or something, people tend to forget after 5 or 10 years and stuff disappears. So I would just like to see this section taken out of the area going to be changed. Other than that, I totally support the idea of having more daycare. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Come on up, state your name and.
Ron, I'm gonna sit down. Hi, my name is Lori Maxwell. I'm the acting president of the Hants Shore Child Care Association.
Thank you to the staff and the counselors so far for all your work. Thank you, Planner Hung, for your presentation. I want to start by saying that I got into this because I believe strong and prosperous communities happen when there are services to support our residents. We want young families to thrive in West Hants. Because when we thrive, then we volunteer, we coach the baseball team, we support our community halls and build connections. And that is really what community is all about. This is very much a community-focused enterprise. This is my reasoning. I saw a need for childcare to help families succeed. And I guess you could say I'm a big picture kind of person. So in saying that, we do need the community behind this. And I can understand change is perhaps scary for the immediate residents. But the need is so great, even in rural West Hants, and it does need to go somewheres. I want to reassure the municipality that we've got a good team behind this that values safety and transparency, and that there are procedures to follow, including environmental assessments. The land also needs to be viable to us. Our vision is not only to provide 50 childcare spaces and before and after school programming, but to create a space for the community as well. I'm pretty passionate about keeping our community halls open. So the Upper Burlington Hall now knows that our parking is going to be their parking during off hours. This will get the parked cars off of the old Walton Woods Road. The old Walton Road, increasing safety. We're also looking at ways to support our local 4-H that uses the hall as their clubhouse. This could look like a built structure for outdoor presentations, or even a playground for the siblings that are attending the meetings. Revitalizing and maintaining the trail, preserving the historical element, honoring past efforts is important to us. Providing safe, inclusive, and nurturing childcare is how we grow. The community piece and the childcare facility feel very cohesive to us. We do want to make this endeavor beneficial to all, and so we encourage people to have a say. To the community tonight, consider this an open invitation to contact us, to communicate. We are a group of volunteers that have put in a lot of hours so far, and there's many more to come. We need help shaping our community in a positive way. We have a Facebook page, an email. Our board members live in the community. We are the Hants Shore Child Care Association. Look us up. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And just a reminder to anyone watching or here in attendance, this is a rezoning. So this is just for the rezoning of the land at this time. That's all, only decision that will come through the staff review. Anyone else like, come on up. Again, light's still on, so all you need to do is state your name.
Hello, my name is Emily Carroll, and I do live in the community of Upper Burlington. I've been out talking to other residents who, it was actually kind of alarming how many people were not aware of this rezoning that was going on. So I have this proposal. I guess it's an opposition, and it's to protect our open space. We want to see sustainable childcare through community center revitalization. We would like to see utilize the need for accessible childcare to be the foundation for building our resilient communities without rezoning open space. This petition is to oppose the rezoning of PID 45285-103 Upper Burlington. And we've addressed this to the West Hants Regional Municipality. The undersigned residents and community members respectfully oppose the application to rezone PID 45285103 in Upper Burlington from open space to allow the Hants Shore Child Care Association to explore establishing a licensed child care center. Our reasons for opposition include the loss of open space. Open space zoning ensures protection and preservation from urban sprawl encroaching into rural communities. It helps to maintain natural habitats, support ecological function, and enhance rural character. Rezoning undermines this purpose. Once an open space is lost, it cannot be reclaimed. Therefore, continuing to preserve our undeveloped land is necessary for environmental conservation. We have sustainability concerns. Constructing a new facility on undeveloped land increases the municipality's environmental footprint and long-term servicing costs. The impact on residents would be increased traffic and construction activity that will disrupt the surrounding rural residents community and adjacent property beyond 500 feet, creating road safety concerns. The construction process and daily function of a facility of this nature will create noise pollution that is currently unknown to the environment. There's precedent for future development. Approving this rezoning sets a dangerous precedent, opening the door for future encroachment on protected lands. Our alternate proposal is that we support establishing licensed childcare facilities in West Hants, but in a sustainable, strengthening way, not compromising our communities. We propose that West Hants and the Hants Shore Child Care Association adapt existing community centers across the municipality to meet childcare needs, invest in revitalizing underutilized historic community halls, use childcare funding to preserve existing infrastructure and protect each community's heritage so that it can grow with future generations receiving care. We would like to see distribute childcare services across several centers to better serve families in multiple rural communities, reduce traffic and road safety concerns, and support multiple areas and strengthen our rural communities. Leverage existing funding for adaptive reuse, provide provincial and federal program support, and reduce costs compared to new development, allowing the capability to ensure childcare to a larger number than can be reached with this zoning change. Our request to council is that we respectfully urge West Hants Regional Council to reject the rezoning application and direct staff of the Child Care Association to explore adaptive reuse of existing community centers as a more sustainable, cost-effective, and community strengthening solution. An example that we've come up with here, and after speaking with many of my neighbors around up and down North River Road and Old Walton Road, not many of us actually within direct vicinity require childcare, and we think that this would impose people commuting backtracking into this area. We would be interested to know where the people that or children that are receiving this care are coming from to eliminate traffic concerns. And we also aware that the church in Brooklyn has now gone for sale, and it definitely meets the requirements for a childcare facility of this nature. Now, I would not recommend putting 50 children in one rural location anywhere, just because it is kind of taking away from that. But we could begin with something like this, and I believe that it would get children into childcare much before 2027.
Great, thank you very much. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? No, everyone is good. Last call. Okay, so again, we have Planner Hong's information on the screen. So comments and questions can be submitted by the public until noon on September the 17th. Phone number 902-798-8391, extension 110, or he can be reached at email whong@westhants.ca. And the drop-off mailbox at 76 Morrison Drive, P.O. Box 3000, Windsor, Nova Scotia, BON 2TO for mail. So thank you, Planner Hong, and that will wrap up the file for 2520 PID 4528103. And now we will turn it over to Alex Dunphy for file number 25-21. PID 4503851 Windsor Forks Highway 14.
Thank you, Chair. I'll jump right into it here. So this is a rezoning application for PID 45038510 Highway 14 in Windsor Forks. So we received a completed application from Stanley Boyd on August 14th, 2025, and the application was to rezone the subject lot from rural commercial to general resource to allow for subdivision and residential development of the subject lot. Looking at the ortho photo here, you can see the subject property has frontage on both Highway 14 and Ski Martok Road. Some of the nearby properties consist of single unit residences as well as agricultural uses. Those are primarily on the northern side of Highway 14. And lastly, the front of the property is cleared and the remainder is forested, so a vacant property currently. For the designation as per the generalized future land use map for West Hants, the resource designation is what this property is currently designated as. That and all of the surrounding properties on the south side of Highway 14. On the north side of Highway 14, they are all designated as agriculture. Those would be the properties in green. For the current zoning of this property, it is rural commercial, as stated previously. Permitted uses within this zone include a variety of commercial uses, tourist accommodations, and one dwelling unit in conjunction with a permitted commercial use. Surrounding this property are primarily properties zoned general resource on the south side of Highway 14 and agricultural priority 2 on the north side. So looking at the proposed zoning, the application is to bring the subject lot in line with the surrounding area, so the general resource zone. And within this zone, permitted uses include agricultural uses, resource uses, limited commercial uses, as well as low-density residential uses, which is what the application is for. These pictures are from the site visit, which was conducted today. So this first image is a view of the subject lot from the corner of Highway 14 and Ski Martok Road. Looking now to the surrounding area, the image on the top here is of Highway 14 with the subject lot on the left-hand side and some of the agricultural uses on the right-hand side of the top image. On the bottom image here, this is on Ski Martok Road, looking toward Highway 14, and you can see some of the residential uses on the right-hand side and one on the left-hand side as well. Looking at our policies that we intend to consider throughout this application, we've got policy 16.1.3. This enables council to consider rezoning land immediately adjacent to a given land use designation on the generalized future land use map to a zone permitted in the adjacent designation without requiring a strategy amendment, provided that all policy of the strategy are satisfied. And lastly, we have our general criteria policy, which is 16.3.1. For the process so far, we, of course, are at the public information meeting tonight. Following this, staff will then do an in-depth review and prepare a recommendation report to the Planning and Heritage Advisory Committees for October 9th. Then it'll move on to council for first reading on October 28th and on to the public hearing and second reading on November 25th. If approved then, a notice of approval will be placed in the paper with a 14-day appeal period to follow. So for tonight's meeting, notice was placed in the Valley Journal Advertiser. Properties within 500 feet were notified of the public information meeting. Signage was also posted on the subject lot indicating tonight's meeting and information surrounding that. So my last slide here is just that comments and questions can be submitted by the public until noon on September 17th, and all of that correspondence should be sent to myself. You can contact me through phone, email, or dropping a letter off at our office, and I'll just leave this slide up with that contact information. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Planner Dunphy. Is the owner developer going to do no presentation from them? Okay, so we will move right along. Is there any questions or comments from the public? There's no one else online, is there? I'll ask one more time. Is there any questions from anyone in the public? Seeing none. Anyone from this side have any questions, councillors? No. So we'll wrap that up. If we could just have your information put back up there. So we're just look for questions and concerns. Comments can be made to Alex Dunphy up until noon on September 17th. His information is on the screen. Phone number 902-798-8391-118. Email is adumphy@westhants.ca. The mailing address, 76 Morrison Drive, P.O. Box 3000, Windsor, Nova Scotia, B0 B0N2T0, or at the drop box at the office at 76 Morrison. Nothing to add, so we will wrap that one up too. So that brings us to the end of our public information meeting. Thank you for everyone who attended, and have a safe night home. Drive home.